how do we really practically do it? Obviously, that's the idea, right? We want to make sure that this is accessible to everyone. But is it toolkits? Is it democratization? Is it regulation? Is it all of the above? I mean, it's one thing to say it, another to do it. So how do we do it?
I think if I can offer one idea is, I think often when I struggle to find ways to think about how we can imagine to create a metaverse, I look to the physical world, because we've been trying to solve the same problems for thousands of years, whether it's the rule of law or other things, right? And so when you think about the idea of property ownership, a lot of things stem from that property ownership. So you think about things like, if I have a shop and I'm a shopkeeper and people come and make trouble in my shop, I'm going to take care of it because it's my shop and I need to take care of that local problem because I own that shop. So I feel a sense of responsibility around it. And I think that we can see similar behavior potentially in the metaverse, where when you own your own space, you feel empowered and a sense of responsibility and obligation to sort of self-administer your own spaces, right? And just like the physical world, maybe there are things that need escalating and you need help from somebody else. But a lot of it will be relatively, up to the individual, I think, once they are empowered by having those property rights.
I think that's interesting, but when we talk about local in the metaverse, it's an interesting concept because it is infinite, and yet I think we will find people, as is evidenced in Sandbox, right, that will want to cluster.
Yes.
But do you think that it will really foster, I'm very interested in this concept of global village, right? We all have our communities in the real world, but this is an opportunity to have a chosen community, but feel connected on a global level. But do you think that we'll just replicate and we'll be very small tribes, or do you think we really can open up a global conversation, because this is an infinite landscape?
I'd like to jump on that one. Like, we really see like physical and virtual world both part of the real world. Like we don't say real versus virtual, we say physical and virtual now. And we, with our avatars, we can own one or multiple. We are now like global citizens of that virtual world. And that brings two levels of like how we want to interact in those worlds. I believe like ultimately users should participate in the governance of those virtual worlds as citizens, so democratically be able to elect people who represent, to self-govern, to also like organize and moderate and protect the communities that live within this world in a compatible way with the existing rule or upcoming rules that the regulatory regimes will put in place in various countries. I also think that right now, a lot of like the metaverse is already being represented into multiple virtual worlds, and each one of them in multiple communities. Web3 is a great way to empower. We very often say Web3 is community-driven. Through the ownership of a digital asset, an NFT, we are part of a community. Through ownership of a land, me and my neighborhood, we are part of another social community. And at the moment, the scale of the metaverse is probably in the region of 1 million to 10 million users. So we'll need to give it more time to grow, and then the communities also will start to enlarge progressively.
Yep.